We are 1 week into the January transfer window in the SPFL, and we might be about to say hello to the first big piece of business, with Rangers set to sell Ridvan Yilmaz to Serie A side Verona. Welcome back, guys, to Fog Football, and it looks like the first big deal is about to be completed. Yes, Rangers fullback Ridvan Yilmaz is on the verge of a switch to Serie A side Verona. And this is pretty strange because it comes at a time where Ridvan Yilmaz has just started to get a couple of games for Rangers. I thought he was very impressive in the game against Celtic, yet Rangers are appearing to get rid of Ridvan Yilmaz. It doesn't really make much sense to me. I mean, the guy has been injury prone. I think everyone can accept that, but he's looked like he's got a game behind him. He's looked like he can be a good player for Rangers, especially going forward. But for whatever reason now, it's very strange, but it just seems like Ridvan Yilmaz's Rangers career is done and that he's possibly played his last game for the Gels. Now, there was speculation that he could be going to Verona and have a swap deal with Josh Doidge, but now that appears not to be the case. Doesn't look like Rangers are getting Josh Doidge. Now, it looks like Josh Doidge could still be leaving Hellas Verona, but it doesn't look like he's going to be heading to Glasgow, and I'm assuming that Ridvan Yilmaz then is the replacement for Josh Doidge. So where will Josh Doidge end up, really? Right now, we don't really know, but what we do know is he's unlikely to be playing with Verona, and that, of course, his position will be taken by Josh Doidge. And that leaves Rangers a little bit light at left back. Obviously, they just have Borna Barisic, but his contract is up come the end of the season. So if they can't get Josh Doidge, they're going to have to bring in somebody. And they have been linked with a move for Dutch left back Guy Smal, whose contract with 20 expires this summer. So Rangers chance to sign Josh Doidge for big money. Looks like they're not going to do that. Now they're turning their attention to some guy they've never heard of, whose contract expires, and they could get him on a free. So, I mean, that is typical Rangers, not wanting to pay big money and then deciding that they're going to look in the bargain bucket and see if they can find a chicken wing with a little bit of meat on it. That's like the equivalent of what they're doing here. Could have signed Josh Doidge, good player, but no, they're going to go for a cheap option. I didn't personally think they would pay Verona's asking price for Doidge, especially for a left back, considering I do think they have other positions that they need to focus on right now. But yeah, as things stand, it looks like Ridvan Yilmaz will not play for Rangers again. He's about to sign for Verona, and it doesn't look like Josh Doidge is going in the opposite direction. Right. Let's talk a little bit about Celtic then. Brendan Rodgers says any contract talks with goalkeeper Joe Hart will wait until the end of the season. And this is according to the Daily Record. And this can't be good news for Celtic fans. Joe Hart just isn't good enough to be the number one. He cost Celtic a lot of goals in Europe. He isn't good enough. Celtic do win most games and Joe Hart looks okay in them, but that's because a lot of times he isn't tested, alright? A lot of times he just stands there and he's a passenger. If Celtic were tested in more games, trust me, we'd see even more mistakes from Joe Hart. Now, can Celtic win the league with Joe Hart? Yes, they can. Is it a bit more difficult when he's making mistakes and costing you points? Absolutely, yes. But in terms of Europe, if Celtic are going to do anything in Europe, they need a reliable goalkeeper. Even if you don't have a great goalkeeper, you need someone that isn't going to make mistakes. You need someone that isn't going to cost you points, okay? There's a difference between saving you points and costing you points. Not every goalkeeper's great. Not every goalkeeper can pull out world-class stops that individually win their team the game. But you at least want a goalkeeper that isn't going to make big errors, that isn't going to cost you 3 points. And unfortunately for me, I think Joe Hart, that's what he does. He costs Celtic points. He's seen it happen in Europe, even domestically with free kicks. The guy isn't very good. I mean, that free kick that he conceded against Rangers in the last Old Firm, it wasn't that great. I mean, Tavernier, it was a decent strike, but Joe Hart should have saved it. I think he's done. He's not been good for a while, to be honest. It's not like he's just all of a sudden went to being a crap goalkeeper at Celtic. If you look at his career, he's been on the decline now for a very, very long time, and I think Celtic do need to find a new goalkeeper. But they are about to get into new contract talks with Liam Scales. Brendan Rodgers says that Liam Scales will be offered a new deal going forward. So Celtic all of a sudden with Liam Scales, kind of like they've signed a new player. Even though he was at the club, I don't think anyone really thought Liam Scales was going to play a big part this season. No one expected him to stand up and be counted on and be so important for the first 11, but he has been that, and all of a sudden now, Celtic probably look at Liam Scales as if he is the man to partner Carter Vickers, despite spending, what was it, 4 million on Naraki and 3 million on Lagerbielke. All of a sudden, the man that returned from loan for Aberdeen is the man that is starting with Carter Vickers, and is the man that is, looking likely to be the centre-back partnership with Carter Vickers. So, yeah, crazy, but Celtic will be happy with this, and if they get him a new deal, then it's a good move for them. Now, not much in the way of transfers, but Callum Davidson is in talks with Championship strugglers Queen's Park. So it looks like Callum Davidson could be returning to management. I'd like to see Callum Davidson return to management. Ever since that Cup double, you've got to put respect on his name. That was some achievement. Probably won't be done again. So therefore, look, if Callum can get a job at Queen's Park, then go for it. Absolutely. I'd be happy for Callum Davidson to get an opportunity back managing again. And an update on Lawrence Shankland. Well, right now, there is no update. No bids yet for Celtic or Rangers. Will there be bids, though? Or are Hearts asking for too much? The whole getting into Europe thing is worth approximately £6 million. Therefore, Hearts are valuing Lawrence Shankland at £6 million. I don't see Celtic or Rangers paying it. I really don't. I'd be shocked if they paid half it. I think Celtic and Rangers wouldn't even pay $3 million for Shankland. And that's not because he's not good enough. It's just they don't pay that sort of money to fellow Scottish clubs. So I think that Shankland will remain a Hearts player for at least the end of this season. And I think it's mainly going to be down to the fact that no one will really pay the amount of money that Hearts are wanting. I'm not saying Hearts won't sell him, but they're only going to sell him if they're getting the right amount of money. And I'm just not sure that Celtic and Rangers are going to offer that. Could it be a Championship club? Perhaps. That might be a possibility, but I just don't think it's going to come for the Old Firm. Anyway, guys, that is it. Not a lot happening today, but Ridvan Yilmaz expected his move to Verona to be made official probably today. So, yeah, within the next 24 hours, looks like Ridvan Yilmaz will be a Verona player. That's it, guys. Let me know your thoughts down below. Catch you in the next one. Until then, though, peace.